Hello and welcome to your Geek, where I talk about what I'm passionate about, what you're passionate about, and what's more obsessive than cataloging over 4,000 pre-painted Dungeons & Dragons plastic miniatures in an Excel spreadsheet. Yes, I know, last time I promised the Shadow of the Demon Lord episode, some actual play, my third and final part of the review, but the campaign for that got delayed, and it's actually a really cool thing because I did back a Kickstarter, the Freeport, which is like I guess originally was a system neutral setting, but now it's being updated for Shadow of the Demon Lord. They're coming out with a trilogy of 3 adventures, and I'm going to start running those. The first one, Death and Freeport, I'm going to start running for my group. Which is going to start this Monday. So I'm probably going to do that as a bonus episode somewhere along the way because, as you will soon find out, the show is taking a defined, definitive format right now. You have a front row seat. But first, I want to geek out about my Rock Me Asmodeus t-shirt. Yes, I have had this Rock Me Asmodeus t-shirt for years. I love it. Asmodeus, that's him. That's the man right there. The ruler of the 9 hells on the bottom 9th level. Since first edition, he has been the man, and he's only gotten better because he's now a god, a greater god, and a devil lord. And I want to say, I think devils are way cooler than demons. Are just like, oh, rah, rah, we're going to go and destroy. They're sort of mindless and blah, blah, blah. But devils have plans, and they're sneaky, and they try to entice mortals into making not cool, but, you know, pretty bad bargains for themselves ultimately because they're trying to get their souls. I just think it's a more interesting villain, right? They can, like, behind the scenes and machinating things and trying to control stuff. And anyway, all in all, better bad guys, I think, particularly at the higher levels. Demons are just more the fodder. They just run out there and just destroy stuff. In fact, when I was a kid, when I was first playing D&D, I think back in first edition, even when I started with the basic blue set, my friend Scott, maybe I was 12, maybe he was 10, around there, one time, so we didn't exactly understand the rules, particularly advanced Dungeons & Dragons. One time he went to the 9 hells and stole Asmodeus's rod, right? And so I was like, no, Asmodeus, no way, right? And it's kind of odd because, like, weren't you the dungeon master? How did he even do that? Well, I don't remember, man. It's just like years ago. I was a kid. But I do remember having the whole Asmodeus just emptying out the 9 hells. And I described the sky was filled, this black, like blotted out the sun, blotted out the sky. You couldn't even see clouds. Just all kinds of flying monstrosities. Just evil on an epic level. And I made it clear to my friend that he was not going to keep that rod, right? Asmodeus was coming back and was going to kick his butt and take it, which he did. Now, speaking of Asmodeus, in my 4th edition set, you guys may have remembered I showed you this. This is my ginormous book of 4th edition characters, right? In my 4th edition book, I had a character, Helios Halifax. Now, he was a Deva. I don't like to say diva. That might be the way you pronounce it. But anyway, basically the cool backstory for these guys was they're like sort of these like extraplanar humanoid creatures, and that at one point they were kind of like redeemed Rakshasas. Rakshasas are really awesome, backwards-handed, tiger-headed humanoids, I think from Indian mythology. But anyway, so at one point my story was he got redeemed, but he was a Rakshasa, and it was previous incarnation, right? Because this Deva is like just continually reincarnate in full, like they don't have childhoods. They just reincarnate fully formed. But his most previous, but if they go negative, they become a Rakshasa, and it's really hard to get out of that. So my story was, I never told him the backstory, right? I just played him as this really drugged out, sort of hippie dude, you know. And he was an invoker, which meant basically like a wizard that just blasted this crap out of stuff, right? And I actually modeled him after a different guy because he had this really awesome invoker, much higher level, who just did a ton of damage. That was Jonathan, my friend Jonathan. Anyway, my point is, I never told he wasn't just this drugged out hippie just to do that. He was actually so challenged dealing with the memories, right, of his previous incarnation and probably several before as a Rakshasa and all these horrible things he did, but he was just trying to get loaded out of his mind to kind of forget it, right? And then what happened is in his 17th adventure, there was actually a Living Forgotten Realms adventure. It was Waterdeep 4-1, Paying the Piper, where he made a bargain with Asmodeus. He sold his soul to Asmodeus, right? I was like, oh God, he just got redeemed, and now he just sold his soul. Now there's a way to unsell your soul within this. It's actually a story cert, right? There's a way to unsell your soul and to get it back. But I played 13 more adventures with him and never resolved it. He wasn't my favorite character, but he was the one that I was most interested in seeing how he was going to resolve. Now Morgan was like, he got resolved because he retired, got to the 30th level, became the Bahamut, the vessel of Bahamut, right? But I was always interested in what was going to happen with him, because if he literally died in the game, like normally you can raise dead, but with this story cert, if you have this and you die, your character just goes to hell. You're done. You can't resurrect him. You can't bring him back. You can't raise him. So I remember being very afraid in combat a lot, because I was like, oh my God, if I die, this character's gone, right? And he got to 14th level, which is a pretty serious investment, because I started him at first level, like all my other characters. And so it was like, I remember this one adventure went sideways and everyone was it was like going towards the TPK. I had to run away, right? If I had a different character, I probably would have stayed and gone down with the rest of the party. I was like, if he goes down, that's it. I can't play him anymore. So I actually so I just added to the whole thing. Like, here he is, leaving the party, running away. It was, at the time it wasn't great, but in hindsight, it was pretty cool. Now, for the new theme, the new format, Geekdom, the frontier of the imagination. These are the voyages of Robert Dorgan. His 2-year mission to explore 90 different shells of original D&D miniatures, to seek out lore and tangential information, to obsessively go where geeks live and their passions and their obsessions. That's right. If you can see behind me, you can just see like 1, 2, 3 cases. Each of these cases has 9 shells. Well, 9 glass shells, and then it's got a bottom, which I call the 10 shelf, right? I've got 9 of these cases in total around the room that I'm recording in, which is sort of like my library, my office, my hangout, my man cave, if you will. Now, if you're thinking and doing the math, you're like, wait, 9 cases, 10 shells, that's like 90 different shells worth of miniatures. If you're doing one a week, yeah, that could be a 2-year journey to go into Geekdom where no one has gone before. My current count is I have 4,007 miniatures, and of those, 1,330 unique miniatures. Now, sometimes I have a promo, so it's the same miniature but a different paint job, but most of them are actually unique. And these are all from the original line of DDM, Dungeons & Dragons miniatures, not the new WizKids ones, but when Wizards of the Coast was actually producing them themselves. And they started with Harbinger, and they have like Dragon Eye and Angel Fire and War Drums and Night Below and Desert of Desolation and several different sets. So a lot of different miniatures. And it's really cool that I have this whole Excel spreadsheet, because that means if I want to find any particular miniature, bam, I can just go to my spreadsheet, type the name, and I can find it anywhere, right? And I have friends who probably have, not many, but I have a couple friends who might have even more miniatures than I do, but they don't have this a collection is organized and categorized like right? Some of them have them organized, but they don't have them in an Excel spreadsheet, so they have to sort of think about where they might be. I actually can know. If someone says, how many Alphaline Rangers do you have? I can be like, bam, right, 6, whatever, right? I can look it right up, which I think is pretty cool and a differentiator. So one day, I will take you a tour on all of my shells, but I have a secret. I'm not recording this with professional equipment. I know, you're like, what? Wait a minute. This camera work isn't professional? It's so effing good. How can it not be? Well, it's not. And if it was, you know what I would do? I would have ninjas breaking through windows, right? You can see this sort of light over here. That's just the shade. I'm not really blinded. I was even better at probably putting a tapestry up and get rid of that sort of brightness, right? But my point is, if I had professional equipment, I would have ninjas breaking through. Because one thing I love to do in school, not in high school, I'm not saying like I was super smart, but I grew up in a small town in Eastern Washington, and it wasn't a high bar to be at the top of the intelligence chain. I get so bored in my classes so much of the time in high school that I would fantasize, right? And one of my favorite fantasies was the ninjas would just bust through all the windows and attack. And oh my God, I was like the one secret ninja in class. This really mild, meek, white guy, socially awkward. His best friend was like 3 years younger, would just bust out and just do this battle, and everyone would be impressed and would love me. Anyway. So yeah, I would have a Kung Fu battle. In fact, speaking of Kung Fu battles, my best friend and I, growing up, we would take paper bags. Probably 20 of these paper. This is before they were really talking about recycling, and that was a concern, right? Before, you know, they charged for the paper bags, and before they were encouraging us to bring our own bags, right? Your reusable bags to the grocery store. So every house, at least where I grew up, had a bunch of extra paper bags. And we would take these grocery bags, and my friend's parents would be gone for the day. It's like during summer. We would just put them all over the house, right? And then in his bedroom, we would put like a pillow, and that would be like the princess, and she was kidnapped by the evil ninja clan. And then we would like don like some headdress and like stick sharpened pencils and, you know, around there. And we would like break into his house, and like we'd huck pencils at the paper bags, and we'd hook them hard enough and they're sharp and they'd like pierce the paper bag. And then, so for added protection, the paper bags that were closer to his bedroom, that were like the elite guards, we would put gallon-sized empty plastic water or milk jug containers inside them. So then when you threw the pencil at them, it was more likely that it would hit that and bounce off instead of piercing through, right? And that was sort of our initial assault. And then we'd get in there and do some hand-to-hand fighting and fight the paper bags, and, you know, eventually rescue the princess. And my God, that was so fun. To this day, that was one of my favorite things. And I'm grateful in a way that we didn't have video games back then, didn't have a lot of electronic medium, because maybe I would have got sucked into playing, you know, Super Mario Brothers or whatever, other than like having these paper bag fights. Not that I don't like video games, right, and computer games to some degree, but there was just something about that, you know, was pretty geeky and unique. And now, one thing I do want to show you, I will share with you, and I'm intentionally leaning over. There's a little effort, because this thing is, oh my God, it's heavy. Oh, dang. Okay, hold on. I don't want to drop this. This would be really bad if I drop this. This is a giant box, which these miniatures, I forgot to mention, there was like a battle game. It was sort of like I guess a simplified version. Originally it was in 3.5 edition D&D, maybe even 3rd edition. I think it was 3.5 when it first came out. And then it came to 4th edition, and they revamped it a little bit. And I actually like the 3.5 edition a little bit better. But this is just all of the cards, you know, of all these 4,000 plus miniatures. I have all the cards sorted in here. And I probably have even more than 4,000 cards, because a lot of these are 3rd edition versions. And then I've got a lot of 4th edition versions of the cards. They re-upped them. And so these things are all like organized by alignment, and then the series, right? Because I mentioned that all those series like Death Knell and Night Below and stuff. So you can see like these are miniatures that could be any alignment. So originally they were alignment based, right? This is all the evil ones, you know. Originally they were alignment based, and then they changed to like some sort of a location system. But I like the alignment thing better. But anyway, my point is, that's a lot of freaking cards, and I'm really happy that I have this giant box that actually holds them all. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that because you know, nowadays the new miniatures that come out from WizKids don't actually include cards, because they don't have a separate game system that goes with them. They're just for the RPG game. But back then the idea was, hey, you know, you could like double your value, right? You could have like cards for this, and then you could use them in this miniature battle game, and you could also use them in the role-playing game. And now it's time for a shout out. Speaking of miniatures, I really want to say one of my favorite companies in 4th edition, particularly, I mean, they're still relevant, you can still use them, but not as much focus on conditions and stuff, as Alia Tools. In fact, this is my original box. You can see that the clasps have both broken off, because this box got so much love. This box, I took this box around the country. I took it over to the Gen Con, took it to Winter Fantasy. Yeah, this box was what I would hold my Alia tools in. And you might wonder, what the heck is an Alia tool? Well, it's a little colored plastic disc, and it's got a magnet. You can kind of see inside, right? You can see that darkened area in the middle. That's a magnet inside. And the smaller ones also have magnets inside. And so you would use these for conditions. Like, let's say orange could be like, oh, a miniature's on fire. I could stack an orange on there, you know? And then they eventually came out with little tape stickers you could put around, so you could choose, right? This one says, if you can't read it, it says dominated, right? So you could just put that underneath your miniature, and you'd like, oh, okay, that miniature's dominated. And so they had 1 inch size, right, for the typical, you know, medium-sized miniatures, and then for the large miniature bases, they have like the 2 inch size ones. And then the cool thing is you could get these little pieces of tape, so you can see this miniature, not tape, but magnets, right? That have a sticky side. You just pull off and stick it on side, and then you can just stick that on and then bam, that sticks to the miniature. So, oh my God, this angel's now on fire. Like, well, what if he gets, you know, dominated, right? Well, let's add a dominated condition, right? And then as you're moving around the map, it's easy to check out what's happening, right? Or let's say he turns invisible. Bam, now he's invisible, right? So just these things were so handy. I got my value, my money out of these tools and then some, right? And eventually, you know, that case that I loved because it was really portable, eventually I upgraded to a bigger case. Unfortunately, this was more like a local case. This was, I could take this with me, but I like to have everything in a backpack I would use. And this case wasn't as portable as that one, but the clasp was still working. But yeah, you can see some of the stickers there, right? There's suits of stickers. This case actually is a double layer, right? This has got 2 layers. So there's one layer of magnets, and then there's another layer of magnets down below, right? So as you might be able to tell with my obsession, when I really like something, I kind of go in a little deep. But in the case of Alien Tools, you know, I definitely used a lot of those magnets. They helped out a lot. So thank you, Alien Tools. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about my first shelf of miniatures. This is case 1, shelf 1. And it's got a certain theme, which maybe you can tell from the video. And we'll be right back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bam. All right, welcome back. Well, case 1 is my angel sort of theme creatures, and I would say kind of intrinsically good, right? I have to say, D&D, you know, allows you to play good, neutral, evil characters. My go-to is good. My go-to is paladin, lawful good, like, but kind of like a Punisher type of lawful good, or you know, a Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. Like, I want to be a judge, jury, executioner type of a good guy. Some people might say that's not lawful good. Well, in my book, it is. Anyway, so this is my first shelf, right? And so it's intentional. I didn't just randomly say, you know, this is like the top shelf of the first case. And so this is like all of like my angelic type of miniatures, a lot of wing creatures. Not every creature here is an angel, but a lot of wing creatures. So yeah, that is shelf 1 right there. And some of my favorite creatures from shelf 1 is the Solar. So this is like a real badass angel, right? Like a really tough angel. You can see that dude, bald, kind of got a cool glowing sort of a clearish sword. Now he did come with a stat card. Here is the Solar. Let me just try to take that out. Maybe it's easier to see without the plastic. Solar stat card for 3.5 edition, right there. That's the card. And then this is for the miniature. This is for the war game version of it, right? And then on the back, kind of cool, they give you the RPG stats. It's kind of hard to read that. But anyway, my point is not that you can read it. Just trying to show it to you. And then some of them, like these guys who are so tough, they came out with an epic version of them, right? So even tougher version. And it's kind of cool because they color-coded them all as blue. And then the back, instead of having the RPG version, because there was no 2 different versions, they would just have a bigger picture of them. Anyway, that is the Solar. Pretty cool. I really was sad a little bit in 4th edition. They didn't really do that same thing. And see, in 3rd edition, and they repeated it back in 5th edition, angels were servants of the good deities, right? Lawful, chaotic, neutral, good deities. In 4th edition, they said, oh, angels, you know, every god has angelic servants. So there's evil angels and there's good angels. So they got rid of that whole Solar kind of dynamic. And I was like, wait a minute, isn't that what, you know, demons and devils are around for? Don't the evil gods just consort with them? Why do they need the angels? So I mean, as much as I love 4th edition, I was really glad that they, you know, brought back that trope of the angels being good. Now, one thing I really didn't like as much in 5th edition is that they changed the way the angels are. So this is like from the 3.5 Monster Manual, and you can see there's like, I mean, there's different angels, but these were kind of the top of the heap. You have the Solar there, right there, and he kind of looks like the miniature, you know, the bald head. Then you've got the Planetar there, and then you've got the Deva there, right, miniature. And you can see, and that's the view. And then in 5th edition Monster Manual, they kind of changed them up, right? Here's the Solar. So to me, like, I don't know, he just looks like a handsome kind of dude, right? The long flowing hair and stuff. I like my angels to be a little bit more like, you know, unique or exotic, or this is not a human, right? That Solar looks like just like a big, handsome dude. And you can even see, now the Planetar, they did a better job to me of keeping the Planetar a little bit like, no, he's bald and got some greenish colored skin. But you can see here with the Deva, I mean, that just dude looks like, I mean, if I were gay, right, that would be my pornography right there, right? I mean, look at the abs, look at the pecs. I mean, he doesn't have pupils, but just like the young boy look with the Justin Bieber-like hair and the wings. I don't know. Doesn't work as well for me. I like my angels to be otherworldly and sort of unique and distinctive. Now in 4th edition, because they didn't do that for all the angels, they had to do something. They also had the other thing. Every creature, instead of just having, here's an orc, right? It was like an orc skirmisher, or an orc leader, or an orc war chief. Well, they did that same thing with the angels. So like, for example, in 4th edition, you've got angels of valor, angels of vengeance, angels of valor, legionnaires, right? In the 4th edition monster manual. And then in the, they didn't have enough. So when they came with the 2nd edition, monster manual 2 for 4th edition, then they added some like angels of authority, angels of retrieval, angels of light, you know, angels of supremacy. And they even have like a template you can add to an angel, an archangel. They're the highest of all the angels, and it's just a way to take an angel and just buff them up and give them more power. So I did like the fact that they give a lot more variety, but there was something kind of iconic about the Solar, the Planetar, and the Deva angels that I sort of missed. And here's one of the angels of vengeance. This is one of the 4th edition angels that had miniatures for. You know, you can see sort of like. And I you know, otherworldly, like this angel doesn't even have really have facial features, right? It's just more of like a glowing energy of like, I'm gonna come and kick your butt, right? And you can see this one's got the magnet on the bottom, so you can stick the alien tools to it, which is totally cool. And like, see, bam, oh, and green. I would kind of use this color of green sometimes to be like poison. So like, oh, that angel's poison. Anyway. And then there's the card for it, and you can see this is the 3rd edition, a 3.5 edition card of the Angel of Vengeance. And then there's the back. There's the, you know, they do the role-playing stat. But when they came out with the 4th edition, they updated it, and they actually updated the whole skirmish game. I didn't like it as much, but yeah. So they came out with new cards. So that's the same miniature, just new stat cards for that. Anyway. That's about angels. And another piece I want to pick out from my first thing here, tray one, you know, case one, shelf one, is the Quaddle. Oh my God, I love Quaddles. And ask me why, I don't know. These actually have a place in real world mythology, Mesoamerican, after a deity, but they're kind of like winged snakes. And then maybe part of it is just the beauty of them. I think that's cool. Like they've got these, you know, rainbow wings, you know, and they're also good creatures. So that like tings me, oh, the lawful good thing. So I really like Quaddles. One of my favorite D&D monsters. I've got the 1st edition, I mean the 3.5 edition monster manual here, and they were in 1st edition too. Quaddles were. They are challenge rating 10. So challenge rating is about, if you have like 4. You know, well rested, fully stocked up adventurers. This would be a challenge for those adventurers. Like they probably wouldn't, no one would probably die. They probably be able to take it out, right? And that's how they kind of like rate monsters. So challenge rating 10 to me is decent, right? That's a good rating. That's a pretty tough monster. Because at 10th level, it's like you're starting to get into those really, you know, you're getting access to some really powerful spells, and it's really, to me, it's like. It's for 10th, you know, between like 8th to 12th levels, when things are you're getting a lot of more power, but it's not totally gone bonker broken when you get above like 12th level, the 15th, 16th, 17th levels. And then it's like, oh my God, the powers and the crazy zaniness just, it's like, it gets to be like, you just need notes and notes and notes on your characters. And then in 4th edition, they had, back to their thing where they didn't just have single examples of creatures, they had multiple ones. They had something called the Quaddle Star Serpent, which is 15th level, and the Quaddle Cloud Serpent, which is 18th level. Now, the thing to remember is in 3rd edition, 3.5 edition D&D, I mean, you could go, I guess, in theory, to any level you wanted, right? But they really had the rules were from 1st to 20th. It was really kind of like a standard rule. After 20th level, it kind of was like you got an epic play, and they had a whole book for it and stuff like that. But in 3rd edition, I mean 4th edition, it was 1st to 30th level was a standard play, and there was no rules for after 30th. It was like that was like the retirement. The idea was like you retired, you had an epic destiny at 21st level, then you retired at 30th through your destiny if you lived. So I kind of look at that like saying, well, so let's take, 1.5 times, to kind of equate, so between 3rd edition and 4th edition, right? So a quaddle at CR10 in 3rd edition to me would be like 15th level in 4th edition. So that kind of rates up with the Star Serpent at 15th and the Cloud Serpent 18th. Now, I don't know what they were thinking in 5th edition because they made the quaddle a CR4 monster. Challenge rating 4. They nerfed it. They just sucked the juice out of it. And I'm not saying that monsters have to be stronger and tougher to be awesome and cool, but it's a quaddle, man. It's a freaking quaddle. It's a winged serpent snake. This thing should not be fighting 4th level characters. It should be, 4th level characters should not be going, oh, quaddle, oh, let's go kick his butt. No, 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 no. You're 4th level, you see a quaddle, and you're doing something sneaky or bad because those guys are lawful good, it's going to come after you and take you down, and you're going to suffer, right? Anyway, that's my little mini rant. All right, well, I really have enjoyed this little look into my shelf 1 to talk about a couple of the miniatures and the monsters, and now we are coming to guess the name of the miniature, and I'll send you a miniature. And you might be like, what are you talking about, Rob Dorgan? Well, I had a friend who had to move for work a couple of years ago. And when he left, he had a ginormous collection, well, not as big as mine, but a pretty significant collection of miniatures. And I bought them all from him with the idea that I would keep some and sell some. Well, the selling process has gone a lot slower than I wanted to. And so I still have a ton of these. And so while supplies last, while I haven't sold all these miniatures, I've got them all in an Excel spreadsheet. Yes, I'm that obsessive. Well, if you can guess a name of one miniature, I will send you one of those miniatures. And I will roll at random, right, completely. So you could get like a very common miniature, or you could get like an extremely rare miniature. It could be worth like 20 bucks or more, right? And it's just totally random. And I'm paying the shipping costs, so there's no downside for you. So on today's guess the name of that miniature, I am showing off this guy. And I'm going to sort of slowly rotate him around so you can get a good look at him. Right? All right. Try to guess the name. This is from the original D&D line. I'll give you one hint. This guy has been in D&D for a long, long time. Like you can find him in the 1st edition D&D Monster Manual. So I'm just going to try to give you even a better look at him. Right? My professional camera work. Anyway. There you go. All right, guess that miniature and get yourself a free miniature shipped to you at no cost. All right. Thank you for watching another episode of What's Your Geek. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, and perhaps what kind of zany, unplugged, i.e. non-electronic ways did you entertain yourself as a child? What things did you get up to? I would love to hear it. Please leave those comments. Please keep the feedback coming. Please subscribe. Please tell others about my channel. Next episode, guess what? It'll be Case 1, Shelf 2. And, oh yeah, those guys are a little bit on the smaller side. You can see them right up there. Anyway, until next time, and I'm stalling for time, I want everyone, where is it? I need a D20. Oh no, this is my bag. I think I emptied all the D20s out. No, 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 no. I found a D20. So until next time, roll a crit.